Well, welcome everyone from wherever you're joining us. We're so happy and delighted that you are spending a little bit of your evening with us. I'm Joylynn Blake, and I'm the director of Scholé Academy, and I'm joined by many dear and funny friends of mine who work in various capacities at Scholé Academy, and we wanted to take this opportunity this evening just to give you a thumbnail sketch of what it's like to enter into the Great Hall with us, and we'll even explain those terms a little later to you. But first, I just wanted to say, invite you, if you're able to, in the chat, you can tell us kind of where you're coming from or how you're joining us. And then I also wanted to give this disclaimer from the start. If you're joining us tonight with the anticipation that you will learn in detail all that is being offered in the coming year down to the specific courses and times, I'm afraid we will disappoint you. This is not an open house to learn all the details of the coming year in their specifics, but I have good news for you. Those of you who are very eager to have that information, keep on the lookout of our website next week. That's when that information will all appear to you. Tonight's event is specifically for those who are interested in an overall view of the uniqueness of Scholé Academy, what it is we offer in our various departments, and kind of what sets us apart from maybe other online course providers. So we welcome you this evening to an open house. And like I said, I have friends who are joining us here to help me, and each one will be introduced in turn. But first of all, I just want to say a big thank you, especially to Allison Haley, who is our technology specialist and our academic support person. And she's going to be working behind the scenes to do a lot of the video share and so forth. So I just want to say thank you, Allison, for all the tremendous work that you do all the time. And if I may, I think what I'll do is I'll just start with a few slides that I'd like to show, and then we'll navigate to the website. And by taking you to the website, I'll be able to sort of tell you more about what is available. Okay. So this is going to be done in two parts. You're going to be acquainted overall with Scholé Academy. And then, like I said, I will introduce to you our guests, and you'll be able to know in more detail who they are and what they represent. So welcome to Scholé Academy. You'll see there under our name, the term Classical Academic Press. And that is where I'm going to pause already in this view, and I'm going to take you to an important site that you should perhaps be familiar with as someone who has heard of Scholé Academy or been drawn to Scholé Academy. Classical Academic Press is our parent company, and you can see under the services of Classical Academic Press, we sit neatly under there as a service provided by Classical Academic Press. And if you haven't heard of Classical Academic Press as a publishing company, if you've been in the classical world, you may have heard of this man, Dr. Christopher Perrin. He is an important and long-standing spokesperson for the revitalization of education, particularly in the classical tradition. So I just wanted you all to know that we're affiliated with Classical Academic Press, and we are their online course service provider. Now, following that, if you are just interested in exploring Scholé Academy and you're just wondering, how can I get the lay of the land? Where am I exactly? Well, for starters, let's start with the name, Scholé. Scholé is a term for restfulness. We seek to recover an approach to education that is classical and restful and full of Christian peace. If you know anything about education nowadays, I'm a mother of four myself, and if you have children in modern education, it's unusual to characterize that education as restful. We want to be a sort of remedy for that, where education feels nourishing and restful. Our online courses are taught live with cameras on and chat boxes off. We do not offer recorded courses at Scholé Academy. We offer live, in-person, real instruction, and they are taught by instructors who love their disciplines, truly, and they delight in their interactions with students. We all work very hard to what we call humanize the Zoom experience. Now, our people come from all over, but it's common educational goals that have given Scholé Academy the opportunity to serve almost 2,000 students. And these are in a variety of countries and continents around the world. In fact, the only challenge we have with that is running into time zone challenges. These 2,000 students represent over 1,300 families, and they are able to select our courses on an a la carte basis. So we are not an academy in terms of, like you might think of a school to enroll in an 8 to 3:30 day, all the courses. We're an academy, more like a ballet academy or an art academy, where you take unique courses or bundles of courses that you're interested in, but it is not a wholesale enrollment for a full school day. Why? Because we're Scholé Academy and we believe in a restful approach. Now, if you visited our virtual campus, this would be the layout you would find. It is laid out with a great hall of learning, and this is the area or the departments specifically represented tonight where people can enroll in a host of general courses of academic study. Then if you see, there's these 3 rooms or 3 houses of study off of that great hall. And these are where courses are specifically and faithfully taught according to a particular Christian tradition, whether at the Canterbury House, which is the Protestant Anglican tradition, the Aquinas House, which is the Catholic tradition, and our St. Raphael School, which is in our Orthodox tradition. So we recognize the value and the benefit of a great hall approach where many Christian of various traditions and faiths can mix and mingle. And then we recognize it's important for Christian believers to have places where they can really dig in to the unique and specific tenets of their belief. So that is part of our inherent design. But in addition to just the places, I'm sure you're curious about who can I meet when I'm actually investigating this operation. So at that point, I would like to do a little more to introduce you to our individuals in our department and on our admin team. So I'm going to say, first of all, I already highlighted Allison Haley, who is our academic support and technology specialist. And then, I don't know where she's appearing on your screen, but she's in my bottom left here, Presbytera Maria Kulianos, she is the principal of our St. Raphael School, but she also serves as the overall Scholé Academy manager of our tutoring center. So you're going to have an opportunity to hear a little bit more about that in just a minute. And then all these other lovely faces are department chairs or leaders in some way through dean or lead teacher. So at that, I'm going to take it and hand it just for, well, I want to show you a peek at our course catalog, and then I'll hand it to Presbytera for a minute to talk about our tutoring center. But I thought you might want to see just a peek at, well, if I'm really interested in the courses, what kinds of things am I going to see? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last look at our old website that will remain active just for the remainder of this week. But as we move into next week, it will be all freshened up to have a new look. But generally, you're still going to be able to see the basic features of what I'm about to show you. And that is what we call our course catalog or our all courses page. So if you go here to our all courses, scholeacademy.com, and it's all courses page, and you begin to scroll, you will see that our courses are divided according to lower school, and as you might guess, then middle school, and then as you carry on, upper school. And each one of these labels is a clickable course. And if you click on that course, you find out all about it. So, for example, if you're interested in informal logic, the art of argument, you can click on that course and voila, pulling up are all the myriad of sections that are offered of this course and the times they are offered. Our bell schedule runs on Eastern time. So if you're like me and in a different time zone than Eastern, you just have to do a little mental calculation of what does that actually mean for me. So a 9:30 class would mean an 8:30 class for my daughter. So these are our various sections. It will tell you the grade levels that are appropriate for this section, how frequently the course meets, and the price of the course, all right there. And then below it, you will get to see a description of it, the course texts that are needed to take the course, and you can even learn about the various instructors who offer the course. So I point this out to you, my friends, as a way of saying, if tonight does not fully satisfy all your desires and needs and curiosities, just visit that website because you will be dazzled and amazed at how much is actually there to inform you of what's available. That is all for our corporate courses, corporate classes that have 15 students or fewer. We cap it at 15, so we keep it personal. But we do recognize one, even though we try to offer a variety of course times, sometimes that just doesn't suit a family's schedule. So sometimes families are like, can I enroll in a private course so that there's somebody who'll just teach my child or children? The answer is yes. Also, there's some people who say, I want to be in these corporate courses, but my child may need a little extra support. They may need some tutoring on the side. Can you help us? Yes, we have a tutoring center. And lastly, you may say, my child actually has learning differences or special needs of some sort. Is there any way that Scholé Academy can serve your child? The answer is yes. So with all of that, with those many yeses, I'm going to hand it to Presbytera Maria Kulianos, who will tell you about a little more about our tutoring center. Take it away, Presbytera.
Thank you so much, Dr. Blake. So it is so wonderful to see all your positive comments in the chat box, where you're from and how your children are taking classes already, some of you at Scholé Academy. So welcome back and welcome to those who are new and are coming onto the scene. When we look at the Tutoring Center and Center for Students with Learning Differences, and let me just pull this up really quick. What our focus is to help offer personalized tutoring to students to find confidence and delight in their classical studies. And so we offer several types of services, as Dr. Blake has mentioned. We offer supplemental tutoring, private course instruction, and we also offer services for students with learning differences. And so it is a really important way that we can bridge gaps or even enrich students where they are. So one of the things I would like to share here is this little flyer. Every plant has their own requirements in order to grow, and so do people. So what is the Scholé support? Well, we offer this personalized tutoring and private instruction for students at all levels, whether it's enrichment, whether it's reinforcement, whether it is also tutoring to help students along reinforcement in a classical, contemplative, restful way. And one of the important aspects of our tutoring center is making a good match. So when you come to our tutoring center, we make sure that I get to know the family, the student, and of course, knowing all these wonderful people that work along and collaboratively with me, I make a match and we make a good bond. So the relationship, the mentorship between our students, our parents, and our instructors is vital to the growth of their educational goals. So that's what we do in a nutshell in the Tutoring Center and Center for Students with Learning Differences.
Thank you, Presbytera. It's a wonderful nutshell, and she does a fabulous job, truly, of connecting the right people so that it really is a personal connection for families. And so speaking of personal connections, now is the time where we transition to let you know who these other lovely faces on the screen are. We have, and I'll ask Allison, if are you able to just pull up the slide with all the instructors? Because what I want to show you all is kind of a snapshot. Some of you may feel like, well, it's open house. Isn't it like Meet the Teacher Night? Meet the Teacher Night, if you were meeting teachers at Scholé Academy, you'd be meeting over 100 and it would last all night long. So what we have done instead is to isolate so that you can at least meet the chair of the department to hear from them on kind of, if you take a course within this general realm of study, this is what kind of characterizes the study here at Scholé Academy, and what the studies will guide them into as they progress from level to level. So let me see. I may have disabled the share for Allison. Let me see. All right, let's see if I can take it back. There we go. Woo! All right. So, friends, wondering who else you'll meet at Scholé Academy. As I said, here's a little snapshot, a little montage of these, and we love that our instructors really come from an array of backgrounds and they share a common statement of faith. All of our instructors support the tenets of the Nicene Creed, and that is where we find our unity and our commonality as articulated in Psalm 133. Now, last Thursday night, we had an open house specifically for our houses of study. You can see in our logo, we have the different 3 top logos that represent, like I said, Aquinas, Canterbury, and St. Raphael. And these are our lovely house chairs who spoke last week on the specifics of their houses. You can find that playlist on YouTube. But I just wanted to, point them out. They won't be speaking this evening, but these are wonderful ladies who can support you and answer questions should you have them about the houses of study. Meanwhile, here are some of the lovely folks that you will meet this evening. And I will let each one of them introduce themselves and speak to you about that. And then if I'm really the one with the power of the share, then chairs, I'll just invite you to tell me when you're ready for me to share your slide, and we'll go from there. Okay, I believe we're going to start with Miss Ash White. Do you want me to go directly to your slide, Ash?
Sure, that would be great.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ash White, and this is my 5th year teaching with the Scholé Academy. I've been teaching a few sections of informal logic each year, as well as a couple of different levels of writing and rhetoric. This is my first year as the lead teacher of the logic department, which entails 2 different courses of study, the art of argument and the discovery of deduction. I'm a theater person, and so that means my classes are not quiet. There's a lot of music and a lot of laughter, a lot of dramatic expressions that carries through our lessons. The cool thing about our 2 logic courses is that they will provide a comprehensive introduction to both inductive and deductive study in both of their different directions. And I do have a warning. There is a warning to putting your child in a logic class. Students who study logic may experience 1 or more of the following symptoms: the ability to face opposition humbly and without breaking into hives, an inability to watch the news or a TV commercial without critical suspicion, spontaneously breaking down everyday language into syllogisms and symbols, and infuriating resistance to emotional appeals, and the annoying tendency to call out logical fallacies used by the adults in the home. So beware.
Next, we're going to go to Miss Amy Morgan.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm Amy, and this is my 6th year teaching with Scholé Academy. And you can't see my orange cat right now, but he is in fact sitting next to me, giving himself his nightly bath. But sometimes he'll come up along behind and help me teach class. So let's see, what do students experience in the writing and rhetoric department? Well, I'd say that the step-by-step quality of the writing and rhetoric program stands out to me, that students make steps and then they circle back. Just today in my writing and rhetoric 3 class, I pointed out that my writing and rhetoric 6 students had just made use of the skills that my writing and rhetoric 3 students were learning today. They build a confident foundation as writers, and the courses go from 4th grade into high school. Now they're written to go to about 9th grade, but it is not unusual for me to have a 10th, 11th, or 12th grader in the high level writing and rhetoric courses. So if you do find yourself or your student you know, in a grade level when you think, I can't start at the beginning, can I jump in the middle? Yeah, you can. So don't be afraid of that. Just read the course descriptions. It also describes each of the books that are included. And be careful not to be deceived that writing and rhetoric 5 is not 5th grade. So it just means it's the 5th level of writing and rhetoric. So notice that. Something that really characterizes the writing and rhetoric program is in the classroom is the discussions, the readings, the rich readings and discussions, the students editing with one another and revising their work. And they don't just use better sentence structure and better vocabulary, but their ideas grow. And as their ideas grow, naturally their writing grows. And they really do come to find their own voice. And I've had a very common comment I get back from parents is that the writing that their students are bringing home, that they're showing their families, is not formulaic. It does follow a format, but it doesn't sound like it came out of an essay machine. So those are some of the highlights of the writing and rhetoric program.
Thank you, Amy, helping them to crack the AI seeming code. All right. Next, we're going to hear from Dr. Riley. Dr. Riley is the head of our math department.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry for my voice, but I am Dr. Riley. I've been with Scholé. Actually, as I was sitting here, I think this is 7 years, because I started in the middle of the year. I took over a class as a sub. So I think I got that off a little bit. But one fun thing about my classes, it's become an annual tradition that by accident, it wasn't on purpose, we have a boys versus girls competition all year long. We have math competitions, math meets. We do different little competitions throughout the year, and we keep a score, boys versus girls. Last year, the girls won pre-algebra for the first time in 5 years. And so I was able to tell them that they were very excited about it. In our department, one thing that students will experience throughout the department is that we all help to develop a growth mindset. We help the students develop a growth mindset. Mathematics is a difficult subject, and so we like to talk about perseverance. We like to talk about resilience and having patience with yourself and being okay with failure and knowing that failure is not permanent, it's temporary. As long as you don't quit, failure isn't permanent as long as you don't quit. We also teach math as a subject. It's not just problems on a worksheet. We like to teach the historical context of the math that they're learning, expose them to some of the great thinkers. So they may have some reading to do. They may have a writing assignment because they are learning math as a subject itself. And then one of the great things about the department is you can take math with us from 5th grade all the way to calculus. Next year, we'll be offering calculus for the first time. So that is exciting. So you can have a cohesive experience from 5th grade all the way through calculus.
Thank you, Dr. Riley. My daughter has had a great Algebra 2/Trig experience this year with Scholé. And now we're going to hear from our Latin department chair, Mr. Eddie Katinsky.
Hello. Well, my voice too, apologize, but I've been with Scholé as department chair for 6 years, and last year we started our Greek program at Scholé. Now we have a whole bunch of other languages, so I should shout out because we have modern languages. We also have Greek at the in at St. Raphael's for the Orthodox tradition. So we've got a lot going on, but I only have like 2 minutes. So um kind of fun fact, we're supposed to share fun facts. So I began speaking Latin with my youngest son when he was 18 months. So he's almost 4. And it's getting harder to keep, only doing Latin with him, but still fun. It does keep me on my toes. I also love hearing about students after they've graduated. Just had a student from Hillsdale write me and give me an update on her English major with helping people with their speech impediments and stuff. So kind of a dual major. So it's just fun to hear where students are going from there. What students will experience in our Latin department and Greek and all the others, I'm sure as well. I've had great experience with my own daughter in the Spanish classes, and in Latin in particular, I think we have a rich multidisciplinary approach. Where we try and not just teach it. It's a little bit like Dr. Riley was saying, it's a subject and it's not just grammar and vocabulary and translation. We're trying to understand culture, history, connect it with everything. And so one of my students today, we were having conversation and she said she just loves how everything comes back to Latin, like it's all integrated. So I think you can think of it as liberal arts, you can think of it as classical education, but that's how I see it. Also, for Latin in particular, our pinnacle is to get to advanced Latin, where we're reading advanced texts. Where intermediate Latin, we read a whole bunch of shorter texts from Caesar all the way to Isaac Newton, and one of the highlights is Queen Elizabeth's speech to the Polish ambassador. And then in advanced Latin, we pick 1 or 2 authors and we hone in on those. So you've different kinds of experiences, but those are sort of the end goal of all those years of Latin. And of course, shout out to the other languages, including our biblical and classical Greek there.
Thank you so much, Eddie. I feel like I wish Eddie could pass it off to the other male department chair at Scholé Academy, but everyone has been apologizing for their throats. And poor Chris Hall is really under the weather tonight with it's just flu season, y'all. So I will stand in for him briefly. Although no one can match the one and only Chris Hall, but he is the chair of our science department, and he's also the author of 2 Classical Academic Press books, or the co-author. The Common Arts book and Natural Philosophy are both books that he's authored. He's one of our instructors, amazing instructor. He's a homesteader. He's just an overall Renaissance man, and students never encounter a Chris Hall course and go away the same. And he really leads the science department in cultivating curiosity, fascination, wonder, all this, because the world is a fascinating place and the cell is a fascinating place and everything in between. And so the approach to be fascinated and for that to induce worship and wonder, and then also to lead to mastery. We use the Navarre science text for our for our science department. And so that is the spine texts that guide our middle school and our high school science studies. And Chris Hall is famous for really cultivating a way to humanize Zoom by really connecting with students on a personal level. And frankly, all of our instructors really work hard at doing this so that it's not just staring at a impersonal screen. And speaking of that, it's important that there be variation. And so at this point in our presentation, voila, we hear from the director of the blonde slideshow here, the slide that only Phaedra Shaltanis could really give us such beauty in such a short time. Phaedra, thank you for being with us. I know you are under the weather as well, but we'd love to hear what you want to share.
Well, thank you. And hello, everyone. I'm Phaedra Shaltanis, and 7 years, I think, with Scholé, and they've all been wonderful and tremendous and just a joy all around. A quirky bit about me, and I think probably some of you are in this similar position. I can't seem to resist buying more and more copies of my favorite books. So I have already a few thousand. My husband is also a book collector. And the thing is, we don't read any of the nice ones on our shelves. We don't touch any of the leather-bound gold leaf. And I just stare at them and I long for them, but I won't read them. And I really would like to get over that because, well, you know, and anyway, so books are wonderful. And the humanities department is centered around writing. You might hear it sometimes called the humane letters. And so what will your student experience? Well, first of all, lots of talking. Everyone in the class shares ideas and talks about many different things that are generally driven by the text. History and literature starting at the very earliest ages. So they're getting into some excellent writing from the very beginning. Let's see, the department excels in fostering discussion, examining universal human themes, and participating in the great conversation, which is just fabulous because they come in, maybe don't think they have much in common with someone from the 1st century BC, but wow, what do you know? We actually do have a lot in common. Some notable courses, they're all notable. They're all wonderful because the texts are carefully selected with an eye toward, of course, virtue and truth. And the instructors are committed to leading students toward those things. And students can find them in various ways, various different paths. But what I love about this whole department is that by the time I get them, I'm mostly upper school. By the time they come to me, they have such a strong foundation already of the historical timeline because we group our studies into eras. And so oftentimes we revisit events and texts and humans and people and all of that they have seen earlier in their education. I wanted to point out as well that rhetoric and senior thesis are they're not technically in the humanities, they're not technically in logic or in writing and rhetoric, but I would strongly encourage maybe giving a look into what those classes offer because they really are the pinnacle of the humanities experience in many ways. And finally, what I've loved to watch is how students confront their own beliefs in unexpected ways. We can't always have the experiences we want, but we can sure learn from others who have had them. So I hope you'll join us at some point in time in the humanities.
Thank you so much, Phaedra. And I think an important thing to note at this point is that while all these department chairs like Phaedra kind of reach the pinnacle of the studies and they're mostly situated in upper school, high school students, we do start with the youngest grades, and especially around grades 3 and 4 are when there can be some real serious attention given to courses at Scholé Academy. I say serious attention, but it's plenty of fun as well. So I'm going to hand it to Amanda Reeves, who is the dean of our lower school. Amanda?
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm excited to share a little bit about what's happening for our youngest kiddos at Scholé, but first I'll tell you a little about myself. So this is my first year acting as our lower school academic dean, but I've actually been teaching in our Latin department for the last 5 years. And actually there was a bonus year before that where I was doing nothing but running the social media for the school. So it's been a joy to spend this time at Scholé Academy, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. Now, a fun fact about myself is that several of those moments have been happening from other countries. Because of my tenure at Scholé Academy, I've actually lived on 3 different continents, and my students have a grand old time noting that my background has changed and asking what new country I'm in now. So that's been a lot of fun to share with my students. So in terms of my role as a lower school academic dean, I'm not a department chair, but I get to work with all of these phenomenal department chairs to think about how they can translate their vision for an engaging classical education for their youngest learners. I get to partner with instructors as they think through how they can make playful and delightful and lasting learning for even those smallest students that we get to work from. So you've heard a little bit about what you can expect from the classrooms in each of these different departments. What I would say is unique, not unique necessarily, but perhaps particularly poignant in our lower school classrooms is that we really aim to get our students on a path to a lifelong love of learning from really early on. So why wait until high school to fall in love with Latin or math or literature or writing when you can start so much earlier and have so many more years of enjoyment with that? So we really work to cultivate delight in our students and watch them thrive even at a young age in our classical classrooms.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say a big thank you to all of you. We're not going to belabor much more because, as I said, what we're looking forward to with eager anticipation is the previews that will be available to all of our families starting next week, where you can look and really dive in and just really peruse that catalog. I want to emphasize that enrollment for current Scholé families, if you're currently enrolled, that will open up to you to re-enroll on February the 8th. February the 8th is when re-enrollment opens. Then if you're brand new to Scholé and you're really interested in enrolling and selecting some courses, that will open to you on February the 12th. And both of those, the official opening time is 9 a.m. Eastern. I say that because it actually is important. At re-enrollment time, people who know us, they are poised and ready, finger on the purchase button. And some of those courses do indeed fly off the shelves. So we do invite you, if you are interested, take the next week and a half to look at everything that's available, lay out your schedule. If one course has been good for you this year, go for 2 next year. It only gets better, and parents only like us more for the space we give them in their own schedule and for the opportunity it gives their child to really engage with other adults, their instructors, and other peers for really meaningful, genuine dialogue over so many subjects to love and so many reasons to praise our great God. So we're so grateful tonight that you have joined us, and we're happy to kind of bring the evening tonight to an official close. However, if you have some burning questions that you'd like answered and that we can speak to, I'm happy to hang on and wait around here, and you can put some things in the chat. I'm going to especially dismiss those among our panel who need to get some hot tea and head to bed. I love you all so much, and I'm so grateful for what you've offered this evening, and take good care of yourself. And like I said, we'll hang around here. Allison and I, and maybe Presbytera and whoever else wants to hang around. If you have any questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat. Meanwhile, good night, everybody. You are loved, and we look forward to welcoming your child for the coming school year. All right. So let's see. I'm perusing the chat now.
We do have one question about writing and rhetoric. I believe it's a question about book 10. And don't we have a writing and rhetoric book 10 that runs in level 6? Amy, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, I was just typing a little something, but yeah. Writing and Rhetoric Level 5, which was asked about, it does include books 9 and 10. Writing and Rhetoric Level 6 is only book 11, which may be what this person was thinking of. And they asked, why is there only one book in that level? And this is the first year that we've taught that course. And I'm teaching that right now. It seems to me that this is working pretty well right now because in the first quarter, we dove into the components of rhetoric because it's kind of a bridge course for the Rhetoric Alive course that can follow. And then in each following quarter, the students are focusing on judicial speech one quarter, ceremonial speech the next quarter, and then finally a political speech. So that's just how it kind of breaks down. And that way all three speeches get done in a leisurely pace, but they also have a quarter to kind of be acquainted with some skills and foundational knowledge first. So that's the reason why there's only one book instead of two in level 11, level 6.
I think I saw a question, I think from Jenny, that's do we offer any counsel on where to start or jump in? Because it can be a little daunting, especially if things are unfamiliar, like writing and rhetoric. I'm not even sure what that is. Is that English language arts? Or what, or what is well-ordered language? So there's two layers to that. One is with, as you can imagine, over 2,000 students, we can't counsel and offer academic counseling to each family. So the first level is please peruse the website, then read the course description, look at the age range it's meant for, assess your own child. Does this look like a fit? So you have to do some of your own self-assessment or child assessment initially. However, we do have a safeguard, and that is if a child gets enrolled, and I may ask even especially Dr. Riley to chime in here, and we want to be sure that we're not putting them in a situation where they're not equipped or not ready for that. So we do have a placement evaluation process that if we find like, oh, we picked the wrong level, if a parent selected something that they're really more suited for more challenging or higher level or lower level, then we can do some transferring for the right level. Dr. Riley, do you want to chime in on how you've seen that work?
Yes, that's it exactly, where you take a placement exam, and then based on that placement exam, you are recommended a different course, or even recommended to take another placement exam to see if you could go into a different course. But also, I do want to mention, as part of our course subscriptions this year, there are a list of topics or math topics that a student coming into the course would be expected to have mastered. And I think that list will probably be pretty helpful for parents to look over.
I see the question too, since we're on math, why do we only start offering math courses at the 5th grade level? And I'm going to meet with a group of moms saying, why don't you offer reading to, 6-year-olds? And we're working on it. We're growing still. And when we say we're growing down, not just up. We've always served, middle and upper school, but we're expanding our program downward as well. But again, one of our fundamental animating philosophies is the importance of richness and authentic learning. And we don't want to set up an environment where our youngest and smallest learners are just staring at a screen or restlessly, it's fun wrangling little ones on a screen. And then that means mom or dad or a caretaker or older sibling is right there with them. So we have Mommy and Me classes, we have reading foundations that are doing amazing things, but we find for independent, capable of moving through classes and following an instructor's guidance when they can't reach out and touch, that really often happens more in the 4th and 5th grade ages. So that doesn't mean we're not working to find new ways to serve our younger students even more expansively, but that's one of the reasons.
I just wanted to add in the course map or the curriculum map. So I did put a link there for the lower, middle, and upper school that will be updated for 24-25, but that's the current one that you can get on our website as well. And then there was one other question about the timing of the placement exams. I was typing an answer, but I'll just go ahead and mention it as well, that we do those in May, beginning in May and rolling throughout the summer, but allowing for summer remediation. But one other good way to see some of the skills that you can anticipate in a course is with the course map. So if you're wanting to address deficits this year, once the courses go live, check out the course map and then see things that maybe you're not hitting in the curriculum that you're using, and that will give you kind of some guidance on a bridge between now and when you get the results from a placement exam.
And then if I could piggyback on what Dr. Blake and Allison said, in our Orthodox school, St. Raphael School, we do offer integrated liberal arts that does start at age 5. And we do offer classes in the lower school in various degrees, all the way starting levels 1, 2, 3, poetry, etc. So you can also check out those offerings at St. Raphael School.
Thank you, Eddie. He's doing a great job of addressing some of those questions in the chat. I really appreciate it. Yeah, there's Scholé clubs. There's all kinds of ways that students can interact. Presbytery, there was also a question about maybe a students that have delayed executive functioning and things like that. How do they do in our courses? Do you want to speak to that?
Sure, absolutely. So when we have students with any degree of varying differences, what usually happens is the conversation between the parent and the instructor. And if the instructor is able to make adaptations or give more time, sometimes I think I read in there that it takes a little bit of time for that student to get into an assignment to actually process the information, then that time will be given. Also, you can come to the Center with Students and Learning Differences and also work with one of our special needs instructors, and the special need instructor will be able to give those tools to help the student grow as they go and progress through the lessons. Now, the one thing that is critical for us is the parent is always the teacher of record and always in the seat of talking and speaking with any instructor. So they always speak with the classroom instructor, and if they are working with someone in the CSLD, they're speaking with the special needs instructor, but the two instructors do not speak together. So it is really driven by the parent and the needs of the student. And so we can support them, but it has to be a mutual agreement between instructor and parent, and then of course, instructor in the CSLD as a special needs instructor and the parent as well. I don't know if I answered that for the person who asked.
I think so. And that we just encourage you to, if you have specific questions or inquiries, you can go onto the website, and there is a place to fill out an inquiry form about our tutoring center or our Center for Students with Learning Differences. And we're working on not burying this quite as much in our website, but private course instruction is also an opportunity or maybe a way to go if you know, the corporate course isn't quite a match. So that you will find under the tutoring center as well.
And just to really quickly answer one of the questions, there is an additional fee for services from instructors who are offering whether supplemental tutoring, private course instruction, or special needs instruction. So there is additional fee per hour that there is a proposal and a contract made between the family and the instructor.
There was one other question about, like, if we've taken a summer course, but we're not in the fall and spring semester, do we get to squeak in it as a current family and register on February the 8th? And Allison and I have been dialoguing in the background, and we think so, but we do recommend that you need to, if you have any questions that we're not able to cover tonight, we do welcome you to reach out at support at scholeacademy.com. That's a great place where we can funnel inquiries and get the questions answered so that you're not left hanging. Support at scholeacademy.com. But we do think that because we have you on file as a summer attendee, you should be able to log in just as long as you're still using the same email that you used with us for that course. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Anybody who's still on the screen, do you have any last words or any plugs or anything that you just want families to be sure they know and hear from you?
I have summer courses. I wanted to mention that the courses that are going to go live very soon are going to be for 24-25 fall and spring and year-long courses, but not summer courses yet, but they will be coming out very soon. So don't forget to check back here in a couple of months, and we'll have a nice docket of summer enrichment for your student as well. Those just won't be live this coming week.
I just wanted to end with Erica Steinberg's words. We've had a great experience with teachers being flexible, adaptive, and supportive in partnership with me as a mom and my kids with learning differences or other issues. Hard of hearing, love feeling welcome and supported at Scholé.
Erica, we're just so grateful for those kind words. All the love to you. Thank you so much. And thank you, families, for joining us. We're delighted. We're honored to serve you. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to hearing from you more. Good night, everyone.